All right, picture this. It's 3 a.m. and there is a man standing in your kitchen. He absolutely isn't supposed to be there. You don't recognize his face at all, but you instantly recognize the gun in his hand. He tells you to sit down. So you sit down. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to dive into the flat, clinical, and frankly terrifying reality of sudden, extreme wealth. We're going to break down the exact anatomy of a nightmare that actually begins as a dream come true.
The intruder just looks down at you and asks a very, very simple question. Where is the money? All of it. Every last dollar. You are just frozen in this terrifying present reality, staring down the barrel of a weapon in your own home. You open your mouth to answer, and that is exactly when the memory starts to flood back. Okay, to really understand this, let's dive in by rewinding the clock 14 months to see exactly how you got here.
Section 1. $2 billion. Let's take a look at your previous, utterly ordinary life as a 34-year-old overnight grocery stocker.
$14.50. That's your hourly wage. You were literally trading hours of your life stocking shelves in the middle of the night for that precise amount of money. It's a quiet, totally routine existence, right? You faithfully buy exactly one lottery ticket every single Friday using your grandmother's numbers, but on this particular Friday, the routine completely breaks. You're standing in your kitchen, refreshing your phone screen not once, not twice, but 3 times, because your brain literally cannot process the mind-numbing realization that you are holding the winning ticket for the largest jackpot in state history.
$2 billion. The sheer scale of that number is basically impossible to grasp right away. In the immediate aftermath, you just sit paralyzed on your kitchen floor. You don't move for an entire hour. When you finally tell your sister, she screams so loudly that the neighbors actually call the police. But when you tell your best friend from high school, you get something completely different. A long, unsettling, completely quiet pause. He finally says, "That's insane." But his voice is just completely devoid of joy. It's this chilling silence. And honestly, it's your very first taste of the intense isolation that's coming.
Now, initially, your steps are highly logical and calculated. You do everything right. You hire a lawyer, you set up a trust, form an LLC, and you legally choose to stay anonymous to protect your $1.1 billion take-home cut. You even sit with that money in the bank for 3 full days before spending a single cent. And when you do finally spend, you really believe you're being responsible. You buy a modest $2.4 million home, and you secretly pay off your parents' hidden $180,000 medical debt. You're doing the right things, You're being smart.
Section 2. The price of family. Because within just 2 weeks, that carefully planned anonymity violently shatters. Look, it really doesn't matter how the word leaks out, but suddenly local news vans are parked outside your new house for days on end. Your inbox is just absolutely flooded with strangers begging for life-changing handouts. But the absolute worst of it comes from the people you love. This is the impossible trap of your new reality. Your oldest friend asks for $80,000 for a food truck business. You've known him for 20 years, so of course you wire it. But 2 weeks later, he calls back. He doesn't say thank you, he just asks for $40,000 more. And when you finally start saying no, because these requests are compounding at an impossible rate, your family turns on you. Your own aunt claims the money has gone to your head. You suddenly become the villain, simply for doing basic math. And then comes the professional betrayal. A highly confident, unsolicited financial advisor takes you out to an expensive dinner, talks real smoothly about diversification, and you wire him $50 million. Why? Because you desperately want to believe that someone, anyone, knows how to handle this chaotic new life. 3 months later, he vanishes. The money is just gone, funneled into international shell companies. Your lawyer clinically informs you that, well, this happens to almost every large winner. Someone always circles. This terrifying reality forces you to install high-end security systems and hidden safes just to feel secure in your own house.
Which brings us to Section 3, the coffee shop. Because right as this isolation peaks, you find what feels like a completely pure, uncomplicated connection. You meet Claire. She's a barista at literally the one place you still go because nobody there treats you any differently. When you finally muster the courage to tell her about the money, she actually laughs, thinking it's a joke. She doesn't ask for a single thing. But 2 months in, Claire breaks down. Her brother has severe gambling debt with some very dangerous people. It's $60,000. You wire it immediately, honestly before she even really has to ask. But then, a month later, it happens again. This time, it's $95,000. You wire it again, but a seed is definitely planted. You start noticing how often these catastrophic, expensive things happen to the people around Claire that only huge sums of cash can fix. You forcefully tell yourself you're just being paranoid.
Meanwhile, the betrayal from your own blood just continues to escalate. Your father calls you up, completely weaponizing your guilt, claiming your estranged brother desperately needs $30,000 to prevent his family from being evicted. You send the money, no questions asked. 3 days later, your brother hasn't called to say thank you. No, instead, he posts a photo online standing right next to a brand new luxury car. You realize something awful. They aren't asking because they need it, they are extracting it because they know you're going to say yes.
Section 4. The bleeding accounts. Because despite all these growing red flags, Claire moves in with you.
Having her there feels like the one genuinely good thing you have left. But then, the baseless lawsuits begin. A former coworker sues you over a joke conversation from years ago. It cost you $40,000 in legal fees just to get the thing dismissed. Then come the shady contractors, the former landlords. These lawsuits successfully drain your money, your time, and absolutely your sleep. So what does all of this do to a person's mind? $40K here, $60K there, $95K there. You start keeping this intense mental folder. You catalog every excuse, every lawsuit, every single wire transfer. This deep isolation and intense suspicion firmly take root in your psyche. You start checking this mental folder the exact same way you used to refresh your lottery numbers, obsessively just waiting for a reality you desperately don't want to be true.
And then the illusion shatters completely. One night, Claire falls asleep with her phone unlocked. You glance over and see a message preview from a contact saved only as M. It reads, "He wired it. Tell your brother to slow down for a few weeks so it doesn't look weird." It is just a devastating, quiet moment of absolute clarity. The one safe harbor you thought you had in this madness was actually the architect of the storms.
Section 5. The final bill. Now that the illusion is gone, you don't scream. You don't even confront her. You simply start moving your funds into hidden accounts. When Claire asks about the shifting money, you casually tell her you are just consolidating for tax purposes. And as you say it, you clinically watch her face, looking for those tiny micro-expressions of panic you never knew you needed to look for. Day 1, you move the funds. By day 4, your lawyer calls. Someone posing as a fake compliance officer is actively trying to rip your account numbers from your assistant. You immediately change every password, every code, every security question you have. And then, nothing happens. For 2 whole weeks, a terrifying false calm settles over the house. You almost let your guard down. You even tell Claire you love her. And honestly, that is your first fatal mistake.
Which snaps us violently right back to where we started today's explainer. Tuesday, 2:47 a.m. The security system doesn't flag a break-in, it flags a system override. Someone used the actual code. Your phone has absolutely no signal, meaning a jammer is active inside your house. You hear deliberate footsteps approaching your bedroom door. You press yourself against the wall and realize with this sickening drop in your stomach that Claire's side of the bed is entirely empty.
The bedroom door creaks open. The stranger steps in with the gun raised. And standing right behind him, bathed in the hallway light, is Claire. Her arms are crossed. She isn't scared. She's just waiting. As the man violently demands all your passwords and all your money, Claire finally speaks in that exact same gentle voice she used when she first asked for her brother's debt. She just looks at you and says, "You should have stopped asking questions. You should have just kept paying."
So we are left with this incredibly haunting realization. You look at the gun, you look at Claire, and you realize that $2 billion couldn't buy a single person who wanted you before they wanted the money. Somewhere along the way, you became the only person in the room who didn't know the price had already been paid. What is the true cost of extreme wealth? It's a question that forces every single one of us to re-examine everything we think we know about trust, family, and the deeply isolating power of having absolutely everything. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the narratives around you.